All right, so welcome back to personal finance. Somebody said, I don't know what's platoon? Or like a platoon boat? Is that what you were in? Platoon boats are pretty cool. Yeah, we're just talking what we were doing over the Labor Day weekend, real quick. All right. Okay, let's get rolling on some of this stuff. So I shot out a link to everybody. I'm going to do that again real quick. That's going to be one of the first things we go over. I want you to find and I'm going to push it out to you as well. I want to find the cost of living in your area, okay? Today we're going to be going over 2.01 through 2.03. And I'm going to screen share in a second and kind of go over all of that with you. But kind of your first thing is if you can grab that link real quick, go to where it talks about the cost of living, find your city that you live in, and then we're going to put that in the chat in a little bit so we can kind of see how much it costs to live in your area. Okay. All right. So screen sharing real quick. All right. Okay. So, a couple things here. Go to classes. You're going to be personal finance here. And this is for the regular class, not the concurrent enrollment. The last class recording was right here, where we went over 1.02 and 1.03. If you go to plan right here, this is where things are going to be due. I am going through and starting to zero out some of your guys' grades, so please be getting those quizzes done. Another caveat to the quizzes, remember you can take them as many times as you want. So if you found one that you can't retake or whatever, please go and do that, okay? So by the end of today, you want to have about 2.01 done. 2.02 should be done on Thursday, and 2.03 should be due on next Tuesday when we meet again. Okay. Also, just another thing to remind you guys: you only have to attend the Thursday class if you are a concurrent enrollment student. That means you are taking it through. You're not in this system right here. You are actually in, you log in through Dixie State, and you're doing that course, okay, through Canvas. So it's a complete different system there. Okay, I'm going to go over the content real quick. So we push content. So we're going to be in Unit 2. So that's where the 2.01, 2.02, 2.03 are. As you can see here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos and quizzes you need to watch in 2.01. And then 2.02, there's only 1, so that's kind of nice for you. And then 2.03, you have 2 videos you need to watch, okay? So you have a little bit more in 2.01, but as I said, you know, they're not super long, the videos and the quizzes. If you watch the videos, you're going to get pretty well on them, and if you need to, you can always retake those, okay? All right. Okay, so that takes us there. Remember, everything is also on my Google site. If you need to go to my Google site, you can always go there. Financial literacy or personal finance, whatever you want to call this class, is right there. And then I have all the videos up there. I put the recording up here of like this class will be on this Google site, as well as on the announcements. So those are 2 places you can watch it. If you come in late or miss something, you have that. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's kind of go cost of living real quick. Well, I guess first off, before I do that, any questions on the class so far, what you guys need to do? really it's just watch those videos, take those quizzes. If you don't get great, you can rewatch the video, take the quiz. You can take the quiz as many times as you want. Do I have any questions on that before we get rolling? Because we got quite a few things we need to go over today. Seeing if anybody's typing. Okay. I'm assuming we're clear as mud, right? Okay. Sounds good. Sorry about my phone going off. Okay. So, as we're talking about cost of living, that's how much it costs in a certain area. So, as you can kind of see right here, I am going to see, let me see if actually Plain City's on here. If not, I'm going to have to do Ogden, because I live in Plain City. No. So I'm going to have to do, oh, Ogden's not even on there. What the heck? Alright, so a city that is close to me. Alright, I think the closest is almost Salt Lake. That's kind of sad. Okay, so I'm going to click Salt Lake real quick. And I'm going to look and see what it is compared to like the national average. Okay, if we kind of look right here, we see that overall it's 6% lower than the national average, which is kind of cool. So transportation costs are a little bit higher, healthcare is lower, utilities are lower. So Utah is actually a fairly cheaper place to live, as you can kind of see on here, compared to other major cities. So Phoenix and Salt Lake are about the same. Miami's more expensive to live in. Alaska is. New York's a lot more places to live in. So basically you're comparing different places from there. So let's say we are moving from St. George. Well, we'll go from Salt Lake, okay? Salt Lake City, and we're moving to St. George, Utah. Okay. We'll see if that does it without doing the annual salary. Okay. So if we were to move from St. George to Salt Lake, we would have, it'd be 1% higher to live in Salt Lake than it would to live in St. George. So St. George is actually a cheaper place to live in. So you could probably think, why is that important, right? Well, it's important because you want to live in a place where you can afford to live, okay? Let's do one of our rural communities here. So if I went from Salt Lake real quick, there we go, Salt Lake to, I saw Cedar City was on there, okay? You want to go to Brigham? Okay, let's see if Brigham City's on there. Brigham's not on there, sorry. We're going to do Cedar City because I saw Cedar City. Cedar City, Utah. So some other places you can find the calculation on there too. Okay, so if we were to move to Cedar City, it's going to be 6% lower cost than it would be in there. Price isn't on there either. Yeah, sometimes they're not on there, some of the other cities. I can't even believe Ogden's not on there. But as you can kind of see the comparison to different cities. So you'll want to live in kind of a city that you can make, you know, whatever your income is, you're able to do there. Oh, Ogden is on there? Alright, maybe I'll do that real quick because that's where I live. So I'm going to go Salt Lake City, and then we're going to go Ogden, Utah. Oh, it is. Right there. Ogden, Utah. We're going to calculate it. And it's, oh, geez. Wow, I should just move to Salt Lake. Apparently Ogden is 6% higher to live in than Salt Lake. So, interesting, okay? So you can kind of find out where people live and how much it is. Wow, healthcare is a lot more in Ogden than it is in Salt Lake. We just must be sick people up here in the Ogden area. All right, so that's kind of something to look at as you're kind of going on. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing real quick, and we're going to go back to the screen here. But why does cost of living important, right? Well, it's important because whatever your career is, you need to make sure you can live in that area. Because you just thought, like, New York City is really, really expensive to live in. So somebody said there's a lot of older folks in Ogden than Salt Lake. And I was, yeah, that could be the case, why it's a little bit higher in healthcare price. But those are some things that you can kind of analyze there. So we're going through there, okay? So we're going to talk about how your career impacts on income, so how much you make. Yeah, living in New York is going to really, really expensive, okay? So you got to make sure you have a very high-paying job if you live in New York, okay? All right, so let's talk about some things we're going to answer today, and this is more in 2.01. How does your career choose affect your income? What employee characteristics are important to your employer? How does education and training affect your salary? Okay, salary means how much money you make. And what is an entrepreneur? Okay. All right, so one thing is something you want is called earning power. Okay. So generally in our society, people with higher education and more skills earn more money on the job than those that have less education and fewer skills. Okay. Yes, somebody said that fast food costs $40 in New York City. I've never been to New York City and ate at their fast food thing. I've had like a hot dog on the street and it was like $8, but I could see what you mean. Food prices are probably astronomical over there. But that's something you want to take in consideration. The more skills you have, the better skills you have, the more education you have, the more earning power you have. Okay? So here's something to consider. It says, if you look right here, it says the value of education. So if you were to do a high school dropout with no degree, okay, you'd be making around $19,000 a year. Now you might think that's a lot right now, but it is not. Okay. High school diploma, you'd be making almost $10,000 more for just getting your high school diploma. A 2-year college degree, you'd be up about $36,000. A 4-year college degree, which is called a bachelor's degree, you'd be about $51,000 a year, $51,500. A postgraduate degree, so it's probably 6+ years, so you're talking about master's, doctor, that kind of stuff. You're somewhere in the range of, let me get my little pointer out because I like that, $67,000 a year. So you almost, everybody needs to have like at least almost a 4-year college degree if you want to be able to live a really good lifestyle, right? Or have skills like electrician or something like that that is highly valued, that you're able to make that income. Okay. So that is the value of education. Okay. So when we're talking about earning power, let's look at this person real quick. Okay. I'm going to make you do a little bit of math. I'm sorry. But it says Jill has a new job at a car wash making $7.20 an hour. She works 42 hours this week and makes time and a half hours over 40 hours. Her withholdings are 10%. So withholdings means taxes, other things like that. How much does Jill make? Okay. So we're talking about how much does she make in a week. All right, so let's have you get out some things. We'll do some math real quick. Let me see if I have a page for you guys. Let's see if I can draw on this. I've never done that before. That might be scary. All right, so I got to go back real quick because I got to make sure I can. Okay, 720 Alright, so $7.20 an hour. Okay, let's times that by 40. Okay, so can somebody give me an answer real quick? Use a calculator, I don't care. I'm calculator friendly here. I'm calculator friendly. Okay, can somebody give it to me? Who's doing it? 288? Okay, so 288. So $288. Okay, that's working the 40 hours. And then she makes time and a half, okay, for 2 hours. So we're going to go times 2. What's half of 720? What's half of 720? So 720 divided by 2, that gives you 3. So times 720 equals, oops, 360. Yeah, so 360. So 720 plus 360. Oops. I can't even do my own calculator here. Plus 3. I'm having a hard time with the calculator today, guys. 720 plus 3.60 equals. So she's going to make 1080. 1080 times 2, that's for her time and a half. Times 2 equals 2160. Is somebody having issues with thing? Is that minimum wage? That's about minimum wage, what you get paid minimum wage. So you got to add these two together real quick, okay? So we're going to go $288 plus $21.60, which gets $309.60. But she says that her withholdings, okay, are 10%. So we got to go 309 times 0.10 equals, for 10%. Yep, it's $30. So we got to subtract. Sorry, that's a subtract now. Boop. Subtract $30.96. So now that's going to give the total cost that she gets every week. Okay, so we go 309.60, and this is working 40 hours a week, guys. This isn't very good. I'm going to be honest with you. It's coming in very bad. So that's going to give 270. 278.64. Okay. And you can times that by 4. That would give you about $1,100 that she's getting per month. And times that by 12, she's getting about $13,000 a year. That's a lot of work for little pay. So, okay. So you can see that you want to work, you don't want to make minimum wage. It doesn't pay a lot, and the way to do that is getting skills and things like that, okay? So we don't have a ton of time to go over this, but can anybody tell me the difference between a career and a job? What's a career and what's a job? Put it in the chat there real quick. Okay, I like that. A career is actually good. Yep, so you make maybe good money. A job's kind of temporary, right? You're just doing it to pay the bills until you find something that's more permanent, right? A place that I hope you get a career soon, Liza. Okay, career is something more long-term, right? Something that can actually pay the bills. Pay the bills for sure. Okay, awesome. Okay, so these are the things you need in order to get a career. You need to have basic skills, thinking skills, information management, technology, be good at technology, interpersonal relationships, so you have to deal with people, personal skills, resource management, systems, and those are all things that you learn sometimes while you're on the job, but also as you're going through schooling or other kind of career tech kind of things, okay? One of the things you're going to do is you're going to have to be interviewed, which is fun, right? So, yes, you need some speaking skills, right? You need to be able to communicate with others. You need to communicate with your boss, right? You need to go up and say, hey, guess what? I need a raise. Let's talk about that, right? So somebody said they hate interviews, okay? It's just part of the job in order to get some things. There are some places where you can be your own boss. We'll talk about that in a second, okay? But you need to tell about yourself, tell about your education, what you've done so far, tell about previous jobs, where you first started to your present. Why do you want the job that you're in? Why did you choose your major? So if you were in school, like why did you choose to go into what you did? Tell what extent to your progress the job represents, stability, and why. How would you or a friend or past boss describe your personality, right? Are you a hard worker? Are you somebody that gets things done? That kind of stuff, okay? What are your weaknesses? That's a big job interview. It's like, okay, what are my weaknesses that I have, okay? Now, you don't want to be like, I don't like working, right? You want to be flattering to yourself a little bit in that way, okay? Yeah, that wouldn't be good to say that. Kind of be like kryptonite, yep. What are your short and long-term goals? Have your goals changed? Do you plan to continue education? So there's some things you can look at, go back and through of things they may ask you on the job interview. Okay, let's talk about an entrepreneur real quick, okay? An entrepreneur is somebody that's willing to take risk, a person who creates a business from scratch. They're self-employed, so that basically means that they don't have a boss, they work for themselves, they have their own company. Strong sense of discipline, you need to be able to have that. You get to be your own boss, can beat competition, but it depends on kind of how hard you work. So you may know a lot of people that are kind of in business for yourself. But there are some risks, okay? So there's no guarantee you'll get money. Sometimes people don't pay you. There's no regular paycheck, so you gotta be okay. There's no boss, so somebody to look over and say, hey, you need to work, you can't play video games all day, you can't watch TV all day. Also, long hours, okay? Sometimes you don't get paid for what you do yet. Assume debt of the business, so sometimes you need business equipment you have to buy. That can be really costly. Some rewards is you get to be your own boss. You get to keep the profits of your company. You get control, satisfaction, pursue talents, and creativity. So I kind of do a mixture of both. I think I told you guys before I own a couple businesses that I run on the side. And that's one of the reasons I like teaching online is I can have that flexibility to run those as well. But that's something to keep in mind if you're wanting to be self-employed and be your own boss, okay? Okay, let's go over and talk about the values of education, okay? So we already talked about this before. If you don't drop out of high school, don't get a degree, you're going to make about $20,000 a year, which is really, really low. High school diploma, that if you go get a 4-year degree, you're about $50,000. Postgraduate, you're a lot more, okay? So you want to get that higher education if you can, or at least some kind of training where you can make those higher incomes, okay? As you can see here, unemployment rates, so those that have less than a high school diploma, that's most of the people that are unemployed. That means they do not have a job, okay? If you're a high school graduate, just high school graduate, you do have a very high percentage of still having no, not getting a job. If you do have some college or associates and that kind of stuff, it gets a lot less that you will not have a job, okay? So you'll be able to get that job, bring in income for there. As you can see, the minimum weekly income for somebody that has like a professional degree, that's $1,500 a week. Okay, so if I were to think about that real quick, $1,500 times 4.5, that's $6,700 a month, times 12, that's about $81,000 a year. Where's the 2018 graph? This is all I got. Sorry. They're very slow at coming out with new graphs and that kind of stuff. It takes a while to get those out. But good question, right? So as you can see here, more education means more money. Yeah, but it's going to be around the same, okay? All right, so if we calculate the difference between these average incomes, got some math for you again, so sorry. But if we were to think we were going to go live till the age, or work until you're 70 years old, and you start working at 16 years old and you're a high school dropout, okay? Let's just do this one, and then if you have like a bachelor's degree, okay, how much you're going to make over your lifetime. Okay, so if you work from 16 from all the way till you're 70, so I'm going to go 70 minus 16, which is going to give me 54 years. All right, so I'm going to go, you're going to work 54 years here, okay? Hopefully you guys can see that on there. And if I'm making $19,226 a year, so I'm going to just do that math, 19,226 times 54 years equals, you're going to make just over $1 million in your lifetime. Okay? Now, you think that's a lot, but it's really not, guys. It is really, really not a lot. Okay, so let's go to a bachelor's degree, okay? So bachelor's degree on D, it says, let's say you start work at age 22, okay, full-time work. Okay, so you go full-time work, you go and you're going to work till you're 70. 70 minus 22 equals 48 years. So you're going to work 48 years. And we're going to make 51, I'm just going to put it down to 51,000, okay? So 51,000 times 48 equals almost 2.5 million that you'll make over your lifetime, okay? That is over double that you would make if you went to college, okay? So I got some stuff on the chat here. Somebody said I plan going to college. Fantastic. We want you to do that. Could see myself. Yeah, don't do it. Don't drop out, guys. Yeah, 20,200 annual income of a dropout now. Okay, so maybe went up a little bit. Thanks for looking that up. Somebody said not enough. So 2.5 million is not enough over your lifetime. It might not be, right? So you may need more money. So that's, if you get a bachelor's degree, that'd be advanced, or a master's degree, that'd be advanced degree, and you'd make more money. So you can do the math on that one if you'd like, but this kind of just shows the power of education, the power of developing those skills over your lifetime. Okay, let's talk about everybody's favorite thing in the world. That is taxes. Oh, I hate taxes. I hate. This last year really, really hurt me because I didn't plan correctly. So I'm going to try to teach you how to plan correctly and get taxes and make things, okay? So we have two terms that we need to look at. One is gross income. This is the total amount that you make, okay? without your deductions. Okay, so somebody says their dad does taxes. Yeah, they have to crunch a lot of numbers. And then you also have a net income. Okay, that's what you get take home after taxes, after deductions. Okay, so that is where we're at there. Okay, so basically your net income is your gross income, so that's what you make completely, minus your deductions equals your net income. Okay, so I kind of think of it this way. I kind of think of my money's kind of falling down, and it has to be taken up by the government and other things, and then whatever I get left over is what I get in my net. Okay. Good question. It says, what's net worth? Net worth is basically everything that you own, so like cash in the bank, how much you own your house for, how much value your cars have, all of that would be your net worth. Okay. So when somebody says like their net worth is, like Bill Gates or, somebody that's really rich, that means all of their assets together. So cars, homes, planes, all that kind of stuff, money that they have in the bank, stocks, that would be your net worth. Okay. All right. So there's something called require payroll deductions. Okay. So by law, your employer, so if you're an employee, so somebody said in the chat, so I could be worth like a trillions and trillions if I wanted. Yeah, but nobody's ever been a trillionaire before. Billions are as high as we've gone up so far. Somebody may exceed that in our lifetime, but I don't know. You can be the first. I'll let you. You just got to work real hard and find that little niche in the market. Okay, so payroll tax, if you're going to be an employee, your employer, that means the person you work for, is going to take taxes and other things out of your paycheck. Okay? So you have like federal taxes, you have state taxes, sometimes you have city taxes, you have other local taxes, you have Social Security tax, and you have Medicare and Medicaid that we'll be taking out of each paycheck. Okay? So those are used to fund different things for the benefit of all. And so we're going to talk about those on there. Okay, you also have some other deductions that you can take pre-taxed. One is health insurance. Health insurance is now because of they call it Obamacare, but it's called the Affordable Care Act. You are required to carry health insurance, or you get a penalty on your taxes. But a lot of employers offer health insurance, and you can get that tax-free, which kind of helps out on the other end. You can also take out some retirement, put it into a 401k or other benefits that's tax-free. And also if you work for what's called a union, sometimes you have union dues, those can come out tax-free. And then also sometimes you can do charitable contributions that are taking out of your paycheck. Okay? So what are taxes? Taxes are required contributions to the state government. And it's basically, it's levied a lot on personal income, business profits, and some goods and services that you use. And it's used to for quite a few different things. This is kind of a form that you fill out. I'm going to skip that because that's not, I don't think, hugely important. Okay, so let's go over some of the taxes. One is called Social Security. Okay, Social Security, it's also called a FICA tax. What Social Security does is it provides people with benefits and their dependents if they're retired. Okay, so what happens is you put in so much money, and so the Social Security is supposed to pay back some money to you for retirement. Okay, it's kind of like the federal government's own retirement system that they set up, but unfortunately it's kind of going bankrupt. So I don't know if you want to expect any, but basically these benefits go to their dependents, and also disabled individuals receive receive some kind of Social Security to help them just make ends meet, okay, make payments. So they're not able to work anymore. This is the workforce that can't work anymore, and they get a little bit of what's called Social Security for every month. Okay, so maybe your grandma and grandpa or somebody you know gets Social Security, or if they have a disability, they may get Social Security. So somebody said, cover the old. Yep, it's covering the old people for that. Okay. You also have something that's called Medicare. Okay, Medicare is a tax used to provide health insurance for those individuals that have reached age 65 or older. So what happens there is when you retire, health insurance has become so expensive in the cost of health care that the government has stepped in and they've made their own health insurance to cover the older people. Okay, I hope you stay young. I'm trying to stay young too, but sometimes you get old, like see all my hair that's going away, right? But that's what that is for, okay? So Medicare, if you see Medicare, that is that kind of tax, okay? There's other taxes that go in. It's like Medicaid is for those that are don't make enough money, that kind of stuff. There's some other taxes that you end up paying. If you own a property, so I own my house, so I have to pay what's called a property tax, okay? And that goes a lot to the city and schools. And that's what property tax goes towards. You also receive sales tax. So whenever you go purchase an item, so let's say you go to the store and buy a candy bar, usually there's some sales tax that's associated with that. Okay. You also have a tax on gasoline, and usually that's fairly high. So some of it is used to some of it's used to protect the environment, some of it's used for other things like that, but there's gasoline tax. And then you also might have other local and city taxes. And I know in Weber County it's linked to our property tax, local and city taxes are. Okay. So that is those kind of taxes. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what is all this money used for? Okay. All right, let's keep it nice in the chat, guys. Right? Okay, so a couple things. One, for use for infrastructure, so like bridges, road maintenance. Yeah, I know what it's from, but some other people might not, so I don't want them to take offense to it. But thanks. Okay. Some of it's used for research, so helping there. Education, armed service and national defense. Okay. Retirement for the elderly, which we talked about, Social Security. Other social programs like Medicaid. You have WIC, women, infant, children. So helping them out that are low and in poverty. There's also other ones that they can help for. Physical, human, community development, law enforcement, so that's where your law enforcement's paid through. Emergency services, interest on the national debt is another thing that it's used to be paid for. So we have a lot of debt in the United States and we got to pay that off. So, okay. Let's see here. So next, how to calculate sales tax, okay? So here's another math problem for you real quick. I'm going to try to do this with my, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so if we bought a CD, oops, let's try to make this a little bit bigger here. That is $15, okay? So how we find out tax is it's put into a percentage, okay? So see, that's 7.5%. So what I need to do is I need to times this $15 by 0.075 because I moved the decimal over twice here, and that's going to give me the cost of my tax. Okay, so we're going to go 15 times 0.075 equals, so it's $1, so that $1.12, so they'll round it up to $1.13. So your tax is going to be $1.13. So to actually buy this thing, it's going to be $16.13. And that $1.13 goes to taxes and to help out with all those different things. Okay. Wonderful taxes. You got to love them. Okay, so there's some forms that you'll need to be aware of, especially when you start working at W-4, I-9, W-2, 1040-EZ. State of Utah has a TC-40, and so you fill those out usually with your information, your social security number, so they know to tax you. So, can we do our taxes early? A very good question. There's a due date to do the taxes, but you can pay them early. I pay quarterly taxes, kind of like prepaying them, because I have, as I said, some businesses, and so you can pay them a little bit early, and I do that so I don't have to pay so much at the end of the year. But good question. You can pay them early, but each year it's kind of in a different thing. The guy who's the actor who came. All right, let's keep on topic, okay? Because we're at the very end right now. And I want to ask if you have any questions. Okay. Okay. Guys who's talking about the video games, we need to cut it. Okay. Or I will mute you from being able to say anything on the thing. Okay, do you guys have any comments about or questions about taxes? About education, about all of that we kind of went over. What if we immigrate? What will happen to our retirement money? Are you talking about your Social Security or your private money that you've put in? Because your Social Security, you still can, I believe if you live outside the United States, you can still receive Social Security, but it's at a certain amount. Your private funded money you can take anywhere with you. So if you did like a 401k, you have a pension, you have stuff like that. We're going to be talking about all that stuff. The Social Security. Social Security is, I believe, capped outside the United States at a little, so much, if you have your residence outside the United States. So if you claimed residency inside the United States but lived outside the United States, you have an option to do that. Okay, so you said offshore accounts. You can have offshore accounts. You can have accounts wherever you want. Somebody said, I heard the market might crash. Is that true? Again, soon. I haven't heard anything. Really, we just don't know until the market kind of goes down. But the market has its peaks and valleys, and it's always kind of going in that steady thing. So right now we're climbing up. We're going to kind of almost a peak. So it may go down a little bit. So what she means by crash, that's a good question. So what means is the economy goes down, so the stock market goes down, so investments aren't very good at that time. If companies aren't doing well, then people can't employ people and they lose their jobs, and everybody kind of loses money. Yep, very good question. And so that's what it means by the crash. So in 2008, we had a really bad recession where that hit and a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had to find other ways of making things. Right now, as I said before, the economy seems to be pretty good as far as I know, but I can't predict what it is. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, it means a lot of things happen and things don't. Yeah. Okay. All right, any other questions about that? We're going to be talking more about stocks, the economy, housing, all that kind of stuff to go through here. So any other questions before we go? Because if you do have any questions, you can feel free to email me, okay? Call, text. I got all my stuff on here. Actually, I don't have my email. It's zhancock@utahvirtual.org. But reach out. Okay, I'm going to stop recording real quick. I'll let you guys chill on the chat for a little bit. And if you have any questions, you can stay around.